Attention passionate Washington Commanders fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Washington Commanders' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Washington Commanders fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS and Washington Commanders FANS. Let's get to the news now, folks. If you've been paying attention to the NFC East lately, you know that the landscape is shifting. The Washington Commanders, a team that's been quietly rebuilding and retooling for the past couple of seasons, looks poised to make some serious noise in 2025. And I mean serious noise, folks. This organization, under the leadership of General Manager Adam Peters, who, let's be honest, never settles for mediocrity, has been working tirelessly behind the scenes to elevate this roster to heights we haven't seen for a long time. Peters is a ruthless builder, someone who's never afraid to make bold moves, to shake things up, and to go after the players that can truly transform a team. And if you've been following the Commanders recently, you've seen that they're not just flipping the roster for the sake of it. No, they're building a contender, a team that's deep, talented, and equipped to compete at the highest level in the playoffs. Peters isn't the kind of GM who sits back and waits for everything to fall into place. No, he's constantly analyzing, constantly scheming, and most importantly, constantly pushing to get the best out of his team. And the results? Well, they've been impressive. The Commanders have gone from a team that was struggling to find consistency to a squad that's now seen as a legitimate playoff contender. Last season, they surprised many by not only making the postseason, but also competing fiercely, and that's only going to serve as a foundation for even greater success in 2025. The key thing here is that they're not sneaking up on anyone anymore. The league knows Washington is for real, and opponents are preparing for a team that's deeper, more talented, and more disciplined than ever before. Let's talk about the offseason now. Peters and head coach Dan Quinn have been working hand in hand to identify what needs to be improved and where the team can get better. They're not resting on their laurels after a good season. No, they're pushing to take that next step. The roster has seen some key additions, some strategic draft picks, and some valuable free agent signings. But as always, the devil's in the details. The Commanders still have some areas that need attention, most notably the pass rush. That's a big concern for fans, and honestly, it's a concern that's been lingering for a while now. The edge rushing position, which is critical in today's NFL for disrupting quarterbacks and creating turnovers, has been somewhat neglected during the last recruitment period. You see, Washington hasn't really invested heavily in that spot, and that leaves some fans worried about whether they have enough firepower to consistently pressure top-tier quarterbacks like Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, or Daniel Jones. But here's the thing, there are solutions out there, players who could make an immediate impact, and one of those options is Za'Darius Smith. He's a player who's proven he can be a game wrecker when healthy, and with his pass rush skills, he could be exactly what Washington needs to bolster that front. And then there's Jadeveon Clowney, a veteran with a proven track record of disrupting offenses. But what's interesting is that there's another name, one that's flying a bit under the radar but deserves serious consideration: Matt Judon. Yes, that Judon, the guy who used to terrorize quarterbacks in Baltimore and was among the league's most feared pass rushers just a couple of seasons ago. It's surprising, isn't it? Judon, sitting there on the market with the offseason winding down and training camp just around the corner. You might think he's past his prime, especially after the injury that limited him to just 4 games in 2023, but anyone who watched Judon in his prime knows what he's capable of. In 2021 and 2022, Judon racked up a combined 27.5 sacks, a truly remarkable feat for any pass rusher in the league. Those 2 seasons were his peak, and he established himself as a dominant force across the edge. Now, he's coming off an injury and a somewhat disappointing year with the Falcons, where he managed only 5 sacks in limited action. Still, it's quite unexpected to see someone of his caliber still available, especially with training camp about to kick off. Maybe Judon is waiting for the perfect opportunity, or maybe NFL teams have started to doubt whether he can return to his previous form. But for Washington, he might be a low-cost, high-reward gamble. Because let's be honest, on his best day, Judon still has the ability to be a significant upgrade over what the Commanders currently have at the edge position. He's a proven playmaker, a guy who can rush the quarterback, set the edge against the run, and bring that veteran leadership that's so valuable in the locker room. And here's where things get interesting. The Commanders are in a position where they need to make a move. They have talent, no doubt about it. They've got some promising young players like Chase Young, who's been trying to regain his dominant form after injuries derailed his early career. They've also got Montez Sweat, a player who's quietly become one of the league's most underrated pass rushers. But to truly elevate their defense, they need that extra push, that spark, and Judon could be that spark. Imagine a front four with Judon coming off the edge, paired with Chase Young and Montez Sweat. That could be a nightmare for offenses. And even if Judon isn't the same player he was in 2021, he brings a level of experience, leadership, and a relentless motor that could elevate the entire pass rush unit. Now the big question is, will Peters and the front office pull the trigger? Will they bring Judon in, or will they look elsewhere? Well, time will tell, but it's clear that they need to do something. The NFC East is only getting tougher, with the Eagles, Cowboys, and Giants all making moves to improve their squads. Washington can't afford to stand still. They've already made impressive strides, but to truly be a playoff team and push deep into January, they need to address their pass rush. That's been a glaring weakness, and an upgrade there could be the difference between a good season and a great one. What's really exciting about this whole situation is that it shows the front office's commitment to winning now. They're not just building for the future, they're building for 2025 and beyond. The NFL is a league where the margins are razor-thin, and making the right moves in the offseason can be the difference between a playoff appearance and a deep postseason run. Washington seems to understand that. They're not just acquiring players, they're assembling a roster with a clear vision, one that aims to compete with the best and finally bring a Super Bowl back to the nation's capital. Remember, this is a franchise with a rich history, a passionate fan base, and a renewed sense of purpose. And that's why every decision this offseason, especially in the pass rush department, becomes so critical. Looking ahead, the next few weeks will be telling. Training camp is just around the corner, and we'll get a clearer picture of what the Commanders' plans are. Will Judon find his way back into the league's good graces? Will Peters make a bold move to bring in a veteran like him, or will they turn to other options? Whatever happens, one thing is certain. Fans should stay tuned because this story isn't over yet. The Commanders are on the rise, and they're doing everything they can to put themselves in the best position to succeed. The NFC East is in for a battle, and Washington is ready to fight for every inch. This team is hungry, motivated, and clearly not satisfied with just making the playoffs. They want to go deep, they want to contend for a Super Bowl, and they're willing to do whatever it takes to get there. So, as we look at the bigger picture, it's important to remember that this is a team with a lot of potential, but also some critical gaps that need filling. The pass rush is the glaring one, and the options are there. The question remains, will they take a chance on Judon, or will they find another way? Either way, the story of Washington Commanders in 2025 is shaping up to be one of the most exciting narratives in the NFL. They're a team that refuses to settle, and that resilience could be what finally propels them to the top of the division and beyond. Fans, this is just the beginning. The offseason is a time of change, of bold moves, and of hope. And trust me, the Commanders are right in the thick of it, aiming for greatness. And now, Washington Commanders fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Washington Commanders. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates. So stay tuned for the latest Washington Commanders news.